What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it's all about classic bodybuilding, and this is part 2 of the Q&A. And let me start off with the first question. First question by the S3VA, or the Seva. Hey Wes, what do you think about resting 30 seconds between sets in bench press like Serge Nubret did? I like the pump that I get, but I'm not sure if it helps to build muscle. Great video, I always learn something watching your videos. Well, that's good to hear. Serge Nubret was one of those bodybuilders who really sought after the pump. He really wanted a constant pump throughout the entire workout, and obviously for him it worked very well. Resting 30 seconds is good on most occasions if you don't train too heavy. So for example, you're doing a bench press, you're doing 5 sets. The first 3, maybe 4 sets aren't that super heavy yet, so you could get away with 30-second rest. It does give you a better pump. But during the 5th set, however, you want to do a very heavy weight. And because you're already having a pump, you're already fatigued a little bit more, you might not be able to do as heavy as you could with a little more rest. So I do recommend it for people who want to spice things up every now and then. So don't always chase after the heaviest weight, but sometimes chase purely after the pump, get a different result, get a different workout in. But don't always do that. Always make sure that you combine the time under tension and progressive overload. So with the pump you get great time under tension because you're constantly doing the weights, pushing the weights, lifting them. But the progressive overload, which your muscles know they're capable of more weight, they don't get triggered by that process as much as you would rest a little more, overloading them with even more weight. So that is my take on that. Next question by Anthony the End Thony. A little over 1,000 more subscribers to grow and you are at 100,000. Yes, I am very excited, and we'll do a very special video when that number shows, because that is incredible. So for his question, in the past you have used an arm blaster. I have one too, but these days I never see you using the arm blaster anymore. Do you still like that equipment, or do you notice less or more benefits from just dumbbells and barbells without using the arm blaster? The arm blaster is basically a bicep or tricep tool that you put around your neck, and there's a bar right here to put your elbows on, and this puts your arm in a different angle compared to all the way down. It puts it a little bit up. And what this does is that the gravity, which is normally pulling like this, straight down, always is, but the weight, when you're holding it right here, the tension on your biceps, it's gone. But when your arm is like this, the tension all of a sudden, it's there, because if you want to hold the weight here, you have to do some effort. And that is the main benefit of the arm blaster, is the tension that your bicep is under is different, the angle you're hitting it at is different, and the time under tension is also increased, because during the bottom movement the tension is greater compared to doing a barbell curl at the very bottom without the arm blaster. I haven't used it in a while, that's true. Don't really have an explanation for it. It's because I'm not really seeing it laying anywhere. It's probably somewhere in the back. But if I see it, I will definitely use it more. But we will actually create a whole new arm blaster for Vintage Genetics, which will be relatively soon available in the Vintage Genetics shop. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, I will show you guys when it's done. But yeah, the arm blaster is a great way to build some solid arms, and they simply hit the arms differently compared to dumbbells and barbells normally do, so definitely a good one to try out the golden way. Next question by Gainster. What are your favorite bodybuilders that now compete in the men's open bodybuilding class, Mr. Olympia? Well, To be honest, the Mr. Olympia itself, I do follow it, I am interested in it, but not as much as, for example, the classic physique class right now, because a lot of known and popular guys that I've been following with a golden physique will be competing in that class, so that'll be more interesting for me, because I will never be able to obtain the mass of the Mr. Olympia guys in the open class, but I can definitely obtain the mass of the guys in the classic physique division of the Mr. Olympia. So, but anyway, the bodybuilders that I do like are Cedric McMillan. He's a very good looking classic bodybuilder who can even defeat Phil Heath if he comes at 100%, which means shredded, conditioned and full, because he is quite tall, taller than Phil Heath, and he is a very big dude, so he isn't really missing any major muscle. So if he comes in very sharp, he might actually be a threat to Phil Heath. I also like Brandon Curry, especially after having visited the Oxygen Gym, using some anabolic chicken probably to enhance his physique, but nevertheless his waist is very small and he has a great V-taper and a good physique in my opinion, very pleasing to look at. And let me see if I can think of anyone else. Yeah, Nathan the Asha, I like him quite a lot as well. His torso and lats are actually kind of resembling my own, but a lot bigger obviously. And he has a very good physique as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I must say that I like the Mr. Olympias of the 70s and 80s more, because those guys were not as big but a lot more aesthetic than nowadays. But they are doing a better job though at holding in the stomach and knowing that showing that stomach is not that pleasing to look at. So I have my high hopes up that things will change for the better. Next question by Andy Newgan. Hey Wesley, as I watched one of your videos and you mentioned about insulin spike post-workout, what does insulin spike exactly mean and how can you avoid insulin spike after workout? Being a huge fan of you, so much inspiration. Well, thank you for saying that. Well, you want to avoid an insulin spike after workout. Well, I'm going to keep this simple and short, no need to get into the details of it, but you get more sensitive to insulin after you work out because you use up the glycogen, the sugars, the energy in your muscle cells during the workout, and that signals to your body, hey, we gotta fill this back up again. And the most efficient way to do this is by triggering the insulin response after eating and making that more sensitive. So this is going to be a very simple example. If you eat 40 grams of carbs, this will be absorbed within 30 minutes at this particular rate normally, but if you get an insulin spike, it would be within 20 minutes. It would just speed up the process, become more sensitive to it, and take up more carbs in the process because it simply happens at a faster rate. However, if you take in too many carbs during this sensitivity and you spike up the insulin response and the insulin itself, then you might overflood the muscle, and then it is full of glycogen already, and the rest, where does it go? Into the fat stores, because that is what insulin does as well. It doesn't just shuttle the amino acids and the glycogen, the carbohydrates in the muscle cell, but also converts those carbohydrates into fat cells, because that is the process that happens at the same time when your calories are higher than they should be at that given time. However, if you're in a caloric deficit during the remaining hours of the day, you will burn off this energy from the fat anyway. So it doesn't really matter that much when you're cutting, but when you're bulking, you definitely want to look out for this. Next question by Rashid97100. Hi Wesley, I've been loving all your videos and workouts. My question is, how should one work on arms to make them grow bigger/thicker? What type of exercises should I be doing mainly for triceps and the biceps on a weekly basis? If you have relatively small arms, you simply want to make them grow, sticking to the basics is the most important thing you can do. So for biceps, the straight bar curl and not the easy curl bar, because literally this is easy curl bar. Your wrists go like this. But when you do a straight bar, boom, kaboom, kaboom, you can see the change in the bicep. The tension is increased when you're doing it straight. When you're not, the tension decreases. It changes the tension in the bicep and the maximum tension is not achieved. So people who constantly use the easy curl bar, they don't get as much results as the people who do it with a straight bar. So that's one of the things you certainly want to do. You also want to do alternating dumbbell curls, and a lot of people curl like this. They go like this, and they already, before they're down with this, they already go like this. So it's too fast. What you want to do is you want to go up, you want to go down, you want to go up, and you want to go down. You want to do it alternating. That's why it's called an alternating dumbbell curl. What this does is it shifts the focus to actually one arm instead of both arms at the same time, and that actually makes you cheat a lot faster, because if you do both arms at the same time, you can't really focus on your form or contraction as much, and that will also hinder your gains. So a straight barbell curl, alternate dumbbell curls, and of course some machines are very good as well to keep the tension on your biceps at all times when you're still building this mind-muscle connection. So doing a cable curl with a straight bar will also be very great for keeping the tension on the biceps as well. But remember, stick to the basics. The same with triceps. With triceps, however, machines are a slightly better option compared to the biceps, because there are so many versatile options for the triceps. And with free weight, it's sometimes difficult to isolate this contraction, this feeling of the tricep, especially for beginners. So I would advise doing especially the rope push down, right? Make sure to not go down like this, but actually extend the arms, hit those triceps. When you do that, you can also do a straight bar push down to hit a different angle, to hit the medial head more, the entire triceps more. And if you want to challenge yourself and you have a spotter, you can do a laying skull crusher or a French press, which is with a barbell. So you go behind your head, work the long head of the triceps, and you basically work the entire biceps and triceps if you follow those exercises. Don't try to do all these weird exercises if you don't have the arms to show for it yet. Stick to the basics until they grow like mad. Next question by Saibida. What's the difference in over/under grip on the bent over barbell rows? The main difference, well, this is an underhand, this is the overhand. As you can see, what happens to my elbows is when you do underhand, they go inside more. You're able to squeeze them together more, which allows you to squeeze your back more and actually getting deeper with your elbows, because what you want to do when you're doing the back, you don't want to pull with your arms, you want to pull with your elbow, right? You want to envision that feeling, envision that motion. So when you're pulling with your elbow, the closer they are together, the lower on your back the tension is. So that's why an underhand grip works the lower back even more than the overhand grip. The overhand grip, you can also go very wide to work the width of the back as well as the thickness. Alright, last question of the day by Vince de Guia. With whom do you live with there in the Netherlands? And do you have any plans on moving to the US, since most of the opportunity in bodybuilding is gotten there in the US? Well, that is true. In the Netherlands it is quite difficult to obtain a very good status as a bodybuilder, because it's simply not as popular here. It's a small country, and the biggest shows don't even really, well, sometimes, but they don't really give out any prize money. In America, however, or in other countries, there are definitely competitions where you can do a lot better and are recognized a lot bigger as well. if it wasn't for me speaking English on these videos, I wouldn't even been known that much. I mean, of course I am pretty known in the Netherlands because the bodybuilding scene is pretty knit, it's pretty tight. So when you are a bit popular here, you're already pretty known in this country. But in the US, there is so much more to gain. And that's certainly where I want to move at any given point in time in the future, because that's where it's all about, bodybuilding. But how that will exactly go is still uncertain, but I do know that my mind is set towards that destination. I want to thank you for watching, guys, and don't forget to stay golden.